Good evening and welcome to the February 2nd meeting of the Belchertown Select Board. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm opening up the floor for public comment. We have one person. Andrew Roan.
What we do from here up there?
I think because of the mic situation, that's the only mic we have. It's right here. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. I was debating whether I was going to do a public comment tonight. First, before I even start, I do want to congratulate our DPW. I think this past storm, they did a really nice job opening up the roads as quick as they could. And considering that some cities and towns were struggling even on Tuesday, I thought our folks did a really nice job. I was going to initially say something about not responding to emails or letters to the board, and that I think that there should be something more formal than just simply a automatic thing that comes out that says thank you. And then I debated about that. And then when I saw, I think it's 6A discussion about the role of the town on the federal policies, I wanted to throw out something to think about, and that is taking no position is taking a position. And I think that the United States of America is built on discourse, dialogue, and coming to some sort of agreement. And if the agreement is that Belchertown should take no position, then that's fine, but realize that is a position that this board is taking. And personally, I don't think it's the right one, but you represent much more than just me. And so you have to make that decision. But please do not say tonight, well, we'll just be neutral and take no position. That is a position. And I would suggest to you each that if you think about a moment when someone said something negative to you and friends were around and said nothing, how you felt. Because that's how I felt many years ago when my husband and I wanted to get married, and certain organizations took no position and simply said, we don't get involved in politics. That is a position. So please have the conversation tonight. I don't know if you'll get through it all tonight, and whether you do or not, that's fine. But please do not think that taking no position is no position. It is a position. Thank you.
Thank you. Online, is there anyone that wants to speak? Okay, hearing none, I will close public comment. Do we have any documents to sign?
Yes, we have minutes from January 5th. Present were Jen, myself, and John.
I move we approve the minutes from January 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
I'll abstain also.
Additions to the agenda. Jen, do you have an addition to the agenda that you want to add regarding the volunteer summit? Specifically, is there something you want the board to discuss, and if so, what is it?
I hadn't thought about it. I thought we would discuss it, but if you, sure, we can put it on as a
No,
discussion
if
item.
it's just to talk about what happened, then it can go into your board report. But
I
if there's
mean,
something you want the board to be involved in.
well, you were all there except for Vinny. It's a fluid meeting. The agenda's not set, so if we want to, I would love to have feedback from the board and from the attendees. So sure,
Okay, so what's the discussion?
talk about the summit on March 14th.
Okay, so we'll add that to the agenda. And why don't we take that up first? So now we'll go after appointments.
Okay, so we
John?
have appointments.
All right,
We're gonna start with Doug and Stephanie St. Susie. I don't know
I know the board is very familiar with Doug. Stephanie is our stormwater coordinator, and she's been filling in the role of the conservation administrator while we search for a replacement. So, welcome tonight. Welcome to in front of the board. This is the select board. This is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Come on up here, yes.
All right. We'll do our best.
And this is regarding a land swap with a resident?
Yep, but first, let me just say Stephanie has been doing double duty on her job the last couple of months, 4 months. And she's been excellent, so. But that's not to say we don't need someone else in the office.
Thank you, Stephanie, for your.
Yes, thank you. Hello, I'm Stephanie, so it's like, I know most of you, I think, but yeah, stormwater coordinator and fill in conservation.
I have props. A little bit of research. What we're doing here is basically the same thing. One's the actual law and one's a commentary of it. But what we have here is a town conservation area that is protected under Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution. And it turns out that a neighbor's driveway is partly on the conservation land. And so looking into this, and as you read the law, you can kind of see what's required. You get one too. And we offer this to our associate property owner. Anyway, so how to solve the problem? Because it's really, at this point, worthless as conservation land. And it's worth a heck of a lot more to the property owner as his driveway. We looked into what would it take to swap land. He has acres of backland that apparently he doesn't seek to use. It goes down a steep hill and it abuts our conservation area on two sides. We discussed the swap and this is just kind of the outline what's required to do a land swap. That it would still take 2/3 vote of the legislature. There is a no net loss policy of natural resource value. So it's a simple argument in this case that we would be gaining something worth much more in natural resource value than part of the driveway. And so anyway, I think we're just here to tell you about this and let you know what the issue is about. Stephanie has also gotten an opinion from Counsel, basically just outlining in great detail the steps that would be taken. So I think the first thing would be to understand what's going on and then I guess negotiating eventually, not in public, with your property owner, how that might proceed and kind of go from there. We have to ask our dear state senator in the next room and rep to sponsor the bill. No doubt it will go through it. And because of this being such a small piece of property involved, it's possible that this could be a sort of an expedited thing. It would still have to go through the review from the Secretary of the EEA. Yeah, that's Secretary, Energy and Environmental Affairs. Would do the review and make a determination how quickly to move this along. I don't think it would need a rigorous review. Would you like to add something? Of course.
There's a lot to add. Just for some context, I believe in your packets, the first page was provided from the neighboring resident on the proposal of the actual land swap. So the estimated area is 1,800 square feet, which is good news, like Doug said.
I'm sorry, how many?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 1,800 square feet.
Okay.
Like
Thanks.
Doug said, that is good news. Being under 2,500 square feet makes the process a little
Yeah.
bit smoother, so that's good. And the next page is showing, the potential swap, what we gain. The next pages show a little more detail of his driveway, my property, and what Upper South Gulf Conservation Area is. It's still in the works. It's been purchased a couple years now. We're still working on expanding parking and working on the trails up there as well.
So if I can jump in, so the board's probably wondering why we're in front of you tonight, I'm not sure. And the reason is because this is chapter 97 property. So as Doug mentioned, this is something that will have to go back to the legislature. It's something that the town, the select board is going to have to approve, whether or not we are willing to move forward with a land swap. And there's gonna be some expenses with this, our time, Doug's time, Stephanie's time, my time. That's probably not something that we would quantify. I mean, we're here to help people, we're public servants. But there will be legal expenses. There will be recording fees, survey fees. Mr. Berry is agreeable to paying those. So we would have to enter into some sort of a agreement to make sure that that's clear. So some of those costs will be mitigated. But before we start down this path, and Mr. Berry expends money, we want to make sure that the select board is okay with this concept, because we don't want to end up at a point where we've done all this work and then the board says we don't agree with it. And if you look at the property maps, the area of the encroachment is a very interesting property line configuration. The previous property owner reserved road frontage and kind of had some weird lot lines there. And, it's not something that we feel we need because now it's all open space.
Yeah.
So the concept, at least in our minds, is that this is perfectly acceptable. We're always worried about our legal budget, so we don't want to have an extra expense. But we also don't want to spend any time or Mr. Berry's money without the board's approval, because we need to make sure that we can push this through. And that's not to say the legislator doesn't deny it. I don't think they would if the board's behind him.
Can I ask two questions? How did this come about? Did the resident come to you or did you go to them?
We had the property surveyed, and then the resident called, I think your office, and said, "Why is there a survey pin in my driveway?" You kind of, you go out there and you look at it and say, "Yep, there it is." So I think it was the previous owner of both of these parcels who kind of didn't really fully divulge things or do things neatly. And so we're just trying to fix it.
What prompted the survey?
It's good for, when we buy conservation land, it's good to have it surveyed so that we know exactly where the boundaries are to prevent things like encroachments and misunderstandings with neighbors.
It's doing due diligence.
Yeah,
That's one of the Kestrel trusts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're required to do it too.
Right.
So on this picture, which is the only one that I can look at and kind of makes sense in my head, can you show me what you're swapping for what?
Okay.
You need a different picture. You
Oh.
need this one.
Yeah,
You need this pink one. Because I think that this thing here
Yeah.
is that other picture.
The color's a little light on that. If you want to look at my copy, the colors are kind of darker. You can
But it's where
see-
the
You
arrow
might have to
is.
show all of us.
Oh, that
'cause
is
I-
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
know.
understanding
Can you,
it.
but I don't know
See.
what land is it being swapped with? Is it-
Well, that hasn't been fully determined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
So
would be
that's-
a chunk of the wood.
So it's this.
Where this was one proposal. So that way he can have his driveway and some of his arborvitae and other plantings. Yeah.
So while we're looking at photos, I just have a question. What does the resident want?
Oh, come back. You didn't show me. Show me what
Keep
you're.
asking, he wants to own his driveway.
Yes.
If he wants to avoid moving his driveway.
Yes.
trees, it's
Yeah,
his
and
variance.
this will allow that to happen.
Yes, it would give him clean title and everything and give us more conservation.
Yes.
Are you
Give
Mr.
more access
Barry?
of his
Are you
land
Mr.
here and then
Barry?
conservation.
You're Mr. Barry, okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were happy, I mean, poor choice of words, that you were okay with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was his suggestion.
Oh,
Yeah.
a brilliant suggestion.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah. You have a picture of the property showing what you.
We have,
Yes.
Yes.
It's on page 2.
This.
This doesn't have to go to the town meeting, just because it's like town land either, it doesn't have to go in front of the town.
I don't think chapter 19.
No,
because it has to go to the legislature. Yes.
It does, being under the 2,500 square feet might change then, but
It still goes to the legislature, but it does not need as rigorous a review. That's the way.
As I understand it, if it's gonna go to the legislature, then they're the ones that make the decision, right?
Yeah.
But you could look
Yeah,
into
we'll have to
that.
verify.
Yeah,
We have time, I mean, town meetings in May,
yeah,
so we'll have time.
We do have other things that have to go to both town meeting and legislature, so it wouldn't be completely impossible, but it
If we
could
have
have to go to both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we'll
because
find
it's
out.
a small parcel, there's
Yeah.
exemptions to the typical rules.
Does anyone else have any questions? Well, I think you've done a remarkable job, and really have done your due diligence. And should we take a vote on this?
Sure.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the request of our town planner and storm administrator to advance to the next steps of a land swap to address the driveway encroachments for the parcel on South Gulf Road.
I second.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Great job.
I survived.
Good luck your first
Yeah.
day.
Everybody working together, that's great.
Oh,
You got one more.
this one's his.
And I have pretty pictures. We have an opportunity to protect some very beautiful land. The two owners have owned it in various stages. They bought the parcels over 40 years or so. They and their buddies like to hunt it. And they are both getting older now. And we've been talking for quite a while now about how to proceed with protecting this land. As you can see, it's tucked absolutely between Quabbin and Jabersbrook Conservation Area.
It's the property in yellow.
Thank you.
It's going right in the middle. Yeah.
Thanks.
So then across 202 to the left, it's not shown on this map. I did this map a couple of years ago. That's how long we've been kind of thinking about this. Most of that, abutting up to Holland Glen Forest, you see there up and onward is the recently protected W.D. Coles 800, 900 acres. So this provides an important wildlife connection through there and addresses a lot of the resilience goals. And it's also entirely within the state's biomap priority area. What we're doing now is Kestrel is working with us to prepare a grant application for the state's forest reserve fund to buy this land. And so the request here tonight is that you would authorize our grants coordinator, Don Cote, to submit the application. It's almost done as it is. You can just tell her to push the button and send it. Then we'll just be floating in money.
Okay, is there any discussion on this?
I think that was great.
Can I
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the board is totally familiar with where this property is, but this is located off of Route 202 North, Daniel Chase Highway.
Yeah.
It's behind the Jabesh Brook Conservation Area, and it abuts the Quabbin. It's also, it has road frontage on Kimball Street. And just to the south of it is W.D. Cowell's property, which has frontage off of Waterford Drive. So it's a very, unique piece, and it should be preserved. It's 127 acres.
Well, I love that it connects both. I mean, that's
Yes, it's
so
the top
neat.
of a ridge.
Yeah.
Quabbin goes to one side, Jabesh Brook to the other. It's level for a little bit, and then it's a fairly steep slope down towards Jabesh Brook. And several little streams and a small pond. It's really kind of a beautiful spot. So,
And will this be, open to the public too?
yes, it would be.
And you
It
maybe,
would be open to the public, open to
Okay.
hunting.
Yeah, there's already some trail systems.
I was just, okay, good.
They need to be.
That's great.
Opened back up. There are some trails.
Yeah.
There's a pond, there's a beautiful little pond. It's a nice piece of property. And,
That's great.
I know Doug and the Conservation Office have always been looking for open space, and they've been very successful in grants. So, if we can pull this one off, it would be a good one. And there's others in the works too. There's always
Yeah.
a pipeline of open space that we're looking to preserve.
Yeah.
And hopefully we don't have any driveway encroachments with this.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, do I hear a motion?
May I ask a question? Or I can wait for
Oh,
discussion.
okay, I thought there was.
I was just curious, what happens if we do not receive the grant? Do we have other ways to procure the land?
We apply for other grants,
Yeah.
and we request our legislators to support us.
Okay.
Yeah. We do have a request for an earmark.
Yes, we do, and I was told that Saunders would include that on the environmental bond bill coming up. So if we don't get the grant, we could do this, or if we get that, then we don't have to do the grant.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens with grants. You never know. So just keep going after other ones.
Yeah, there's always CPC, there's
Yeah.
different avenues, so.
But on a concept level, is this something that you agree with?
Yeah, what I was worried about was if we weren't able to act quickly enough, do we think that they would consider going to public sale of the land?
No, I don't think they would. They both emphasize they want to keep it.
They want to keep
Okay.
it conservation.
That's what I was
Their
worried
hearts
about
are in
losing
it.
it.
Yeah, so they want it protected and they want to keep continuing to hunt it for as long as they are able to hunt. So this would be a way to do that.
I appreciate them proactively coming to us.
Yeah, yeah. I've known these guys for a very long time, so I can imagine.
Okay,
So I make a motion that we allow our grants coordinator to submit the application for the Federal Reserve grant for this parcel.
A second?
further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, great work. Come back. Okay, so Jen, what do you want to discuss with the board?
So as I have not prepared anything for discussion, I would love to hear the feedback from the session from the folks who attended it that weren't putting it on. So if you have feedback, now is the time.
I have a question. What's the reason for it being added after the agenda was posted?
Because I had asked specifically, what should the board be discussing? And I did not get an answer back, so I was giving Jen an opportunity to provide an answer of why this is on the regular agenda. I had this under board reports.
But you didn't respond?
Oh, no, I said it should be put on it, but it wasn't put on, so we didn't just prepare anything.
No, I mean, I sent it back saying, please tell me what we're going to discuss.
That was after the agenda was already posted, so it didn't
No,
matter.
it wasn't.
It doesn't matter.
So I wanted to give her an opportunity to say, this is why it's up for discussion.
First, I just want to say it was great to see all the committees in one room and all the people actually show up. I didn't know what to expect. I thought maybe 20 people would show up, to be honest with you, and to have a whole room. I don't know if we got a head count there, but had to be over 50 people.
Yeah.
I think there was every committee there except for one or two.
No, we were missing quite a few.
Yeah, I
But there was
think
still-
there were 25 people.
It was-
But that's how many I counted, but I could be
It
wrong.
was good to hear.
But it's still a good showing.
And it was good to hear some comments in a sense where space was a consideration. Like, I thought that was the biggest space and funding, obviously, but people don't have enough space. And that's the dire need, I guess. So I got some good stuff out of it, but positive out of this.
I mean, the point of this meeting on Thursday was to gather information in preparation for the larger meeting, which is happening in March. And to gather information and allow people the time to connect with each other so that they can start thinking about like what they want to talk about on March 14th.
So are you gonna set an agenda for March?
Yep. We're still working on it. So we're taking all the feedback from last week and we're meeting again. And we're just gonna keep refining it and put together the logistics and figure out how that day is gonna look. So we had some disappointment because we had been talking to Mass Creative about having some of their folks support it. And then the woman that we were speaking with is left for another job last Friday. So it was very unfortunate timing because we were pretty deep in conversation with her.
What is Mass Creative?
Mass Creative does arts advocacy. And so originally when we were talking about doing this, we wanted to have it during Arts Advocacy Week, which is the first week of March. And so what they do is they help facilitate like conversation, how to talk about different topics. And we were hoping that they could provide some resources for the groups. Like, you know, if you're a nonprofit, like what kind of resources can you look for? Like volunteer recruitment, because they do a lot of that work with across the state. So that was why we had asked them to get involved to begin with, but it fell apart. So we're just making it up as we go along. So originally I thought we would pick out some projects on Thursday to work on the bigger meeting, but it turned into more like topics of discussion. As John alluded to, space was a big issue that people want to talk about together, funding, volunteer recruitment, things like that. So we're going to take all that feedback and process it and
Well, I
put
know
together all the pieces.
one of the things that when you were talking about the space, because it's limited what we have, part of that discussion is also to identify what places they think, the people who attended, we should be looking at. I think that's important because it gets beyond just what we think and, there could be some creative ideas that we aren't even thinking about.
So that brought up my other train of thought for this too, is how each committee should come before the select board once a year and kind of give us a brief overview of what they're doing, and we can meet that committee. I know we have liaisons, but it'd be nice to see them come at a different time throughout the year. So like communication comes this month, then we stagger them all so we can just get a quick update of what's going on, so we're all on the same page and we know who the players are. I think that's a huge role, because I thought I knew a lot of people in the committees, and there was new faces I haven't seen yet.
There are new faces,
So
for
that's, then there's the same old faces too, I see that are on multiple committees, which is another concern of mine.
And
Which
so
we're gonna talk about
that
today.
was something we had been doing, and I'm glad you brought it up. Because I think, looking at all the committees and having them start to come and just talk about what they're doing is a great idea. I'm trying, maybe you could suggest some that maybe we haven't heard from for a while. Certainly, I think we were talking about animal control.
Bark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
So I know that one, but there could be other ones.
Yeah, I unfortunately, as you know, I was unable to attend, and, I'm curious if, there was discussion about projects that the committees are working on, and if there was overlap with other committees. Was there any like aha moments we could help you with that, or Did you not get that far yet?
No, but like some of what I think there's like a hunger for like a community calendar so that, you know, there's not like, so everyone like knows like what's happening throughout the year and like having it all like in one like repository. Like rec wasn't there. So like we didn't have their feedback, you know, so there was like a couple of missing component pieces. But everybody's working on their own things. I did hear one piece of feedback, which I thought was really interesting is, you know, like one group wanted to add more programming. And then I heard from somebody like, well, we're already struggling for volunteers and they want to add more events. Right. So, you know, that's a real concern, like unless like we have like this giant outcropping of new volunteers that are interested in doing stuff. You know, we don't want to be competing with our own resources within town.
So I actually do have a couple of thoughts that are along that line.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think bringing everybody together, I think that was, it was really good to hear from people and to see people interacting. For me, I did have a couple of concerns. One was I felt like it was a little bit premature to the topic that we're going to be discussing, which we've been talking about for much longer than the summit, which is the streamlining and the consolidation of the committees. But also I do have a concern. I just want to make sure that we are all talking to each other when it comes to things like using the time of our paid employees, whether it's Kate or Lisa Stahl or whoever. I feel like that's the kind of stuff we should be discussing as a board, especially because they are on such limited, work weeks. So to that end, when we talk about the consolidation and the streamlining later, and I recognize this is your area and I am not going to step on your toes on this at all, but I did make a list because it kind of went hand in hand with the streamlining of things we could do to attract volunteerism. So I would like to share that, but just share it and let you do what you want with it. But I do kind of think we jumped the gun a little bit without looking at streamlining first.
Well, I mean, and I don't disagree with you. I think that my frustration was that as a board, we didn't know anything about what this summit was going to be about. I know both you and Whitney have talked about, the need to look at committee makeup. And so I was surprised that wasn't even on it.
This meeting had nothing to do with committee makeup. I just want to make that really clear.
But what I'm trying to make really clear is that had we known prior to the event happening what the goals were, I think that would have helped in terms of.
I talked about it in November and December, and then when I came back in January. So I'm just not sure. Like this was like a test to like bring certain very specific groups together into the room together to talk about stuff from an economic development perspective. Like very specific groups were invited to that, and it was under the auspices of the creative economy. So it happened. If you all feel that I didn't follow some protocol that we needed to be following,
not a protocol. It's
and
just
that's a different story. But we did talk about it multiple times. In fact, we did talk about it many times.
Well, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the real summit is what's happening in March.
Yes.
This was more of like a brainstorming session. I'm so sorry I missed it, but I am still suffering from some grossness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sorry I did miss it, but my understanding was this was more informal to help create the structure for the March session. But I do agree that we all should make sure that we are getting.
I think if it were a discussion that had moved from board report, because you did bring it up in board reports a couple of times, but I never quite knew what it was. I don't think I ever got the feeling that it was a creative economy thing.
No.
I guess it's something that I think we should have put on an agenda and discussed.
And I don't think it would have taken long. I think maybe a minute, just to nobody's trying to,
I don't-
do
I don't-
anything
yeah.
more than just say, because there are other things that we're doing that's going to possibly dovetail. I mean, Nicole's going to be talking about something
Right.
tonight.
I just want to reiterate this meeting has nothing to do with any of those things that we're discussing tonight. It is literally about recruitment of volunteers and having folks talk about their projects in an open setting so that we can find alignments and synergies, not in committees, but in the work that they're doing so that they could maybe work together.
I couldn't agree with you more, and that's exactly the 1 minute that we needed
But I
prior to
pretty
this.
sure I said that in January, but that's okay.
No, in January you said, I am overwhelmed, I'm getting ready to go to
No.
Spain."
I went to Spain in December. January, when I got back, I said, I'm regrouping and we're putting together the plan. And this was the plan that we came up with. So,
Maybe, yeah.
but it's fine.
It's just feedback. This
If
isn't-
if
it's
folks want to get involved for the larger meeting in March, please let me know. And
Well, I think it's the opposite. We want you to involve us.
Yeah. And
if
maybe-
anybody wants to be part of the planning, we're having a meeting tomorrow at 2:30.
is there,
So, right, 2:30.
Yeah, and I can't make it because I'm working, but then we have what, 3 more meetings until that summit? So should we have as an agenda item? Maybe not every meeting, but at least
yeah,
once or
well,
twice.
actually what I'm thinking is, even just, when you're having the planning meetings, just put together, this is where we are right now. And you just put it on a piece of paper and hand it out to everyone. So if there are questions, we can, we have the opportunity to talk about it. I really, I think this has probably gone on too long.
Oh, I'm not doing my timer thing. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and honestly, this was really just to say, we just want to be kept apprised of what's going on. That's all.
To see an agenda for the
Yeah.
summit.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
When we figure it out, I will let you all have it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so can we go on, everybody?
Sure.
Okay, so the next one is discussion A, public policy. What is the role of the select board regarding federal matters? This is a continued discussion. This has been something that has been talked about. Oh my God, I think we started in August, and this board asked Nicole and I to work on a policy, and that is what's in writing in front of you. There are 2 that you have. One is as we wrote it, which is in your board packet. The second is I asked Steve to run this by legal, just to make sure that there's, nothing in this that wouldn't pass legal muster. And so that's the second piece. And so we had also committed to making a policy that doesn't have to be decided tonight, but I definitely wanted to get your feedback on what was done, ask for your any edits or any changes, or just your general reaction to what you asked us to put together.
May I ask a question about something that came back from legal counsel?
The what?
May I ask a question about something that came back from
Yes.
legal?
Yep.
I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. Their addition to the second section under civic and constitutional foundation about the at the same time, any
official statements or communications by the board on matters related to town business in its official capacity is governmental speech, to which the strictures of the First Amendment do not apply. So
What's the
what
question?
exactly does that mean? Does that mean that because we operate as a body, anything that we do here, First Amendment does not apply? We actually still have requirements in which we have to communicate? Is that what it means?
I'm reading it as we are still protected as individuals under the
As
First Amendment,
individuals.
and that we still have free speech.
Is that how
That's
you
my
heard?
interpretation.
Yeah, which I think is good. Like, we still have our own personal First Amendment.
Okay. Got it. It was the do not apply that confused me.
But thanks for that.
Yeah, I think the flavor is there's nothing in this document that would stifle individual board member opinions or statements.
Okay.
I think that's spelled out a little bit clearer somewhere else in the document.
Okay.
One of the terms that we had in the initial draft, under sorry, bear with me, under
Filter criteria?
civic and constitutional foundation. No,
That's,
I'm sorry, under the policy statement.
that's what I thought.
We removed the word proclamations.
Yes.
We initially, Lisa and I sat for hours doing this and went back and forth. And we eventually just removed proclamations. We had concerns that that was going to contradict a lot of the things that come up for us. Holocaust Day, child abuse prevention awareness. all
Child
of that.
abuse
Yeah.
prevention. Like, if we left proclamations in, our hands would be tied on all proclamations. So this allows us to continue to be able to produce proclamations. In essence, what this policy says is that, actually, do you want to read it?
Well, I think the whole thing.
I mean, let's split it. I don't
Okay.
care who
Sure, I
Does what?
can start. I'll go through policy statement. The purpose of this, the name of the policy is the Policy on Select Board Commentary regarding federal matters and civic responsibilities.
wait, which one are you going? Are you doing the lawyer?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is with the attorney's edits. And this is so that everybody in the community understand what we are potentially voting on.
The purpose of this policy is to ensure that Belchertown Select Board, as a public body of the town of Belchertown, remains focused on its core responsibility, the governance, safety, and well-being of the town of Belchertown and its residents. The policy also affirms the board's civic obligations while avoiding engagement in national, political, or ideological debate outside the board's municipal role.
Do the second one, then I'll do the next two.
Civic and Constitutional Foundation. Members of the Belchertown Select Board take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This oath is understood in its traditional, nonpartisan sense as a commitment to lawful authority, due process, and responsible local governance. At the same time, any official statements or communications by the board on matters relating to town business in its official capacity, its governmental speech to which the strictures of the First Amendment do not apply. This policy affirms the obligation of the Select Board to act in the best interests of the residents of the town, while recognizing that the Select Board is not a forum for national political advocacy or symbolic debate unrelated to municipal governance.
So the policy statement, except where a federal matter has a direct material and demonstrable impact on the town of Belchertown, the Select Board shall refrain from issuing official statements, resolutions, or formal commentary on federal or national matters. This policy is intended to limit engagement in national, political, or ideological disputes during select board meetings and other circumstances where select board members are speaking in their official capacity, not to restrict the board's ability to govern locally, ensure public safety, comply with the law, or affirm the lawful inclusion and well-being of Belchertown residents. The scope of municipal authority and well-being. Nothing in this policy shall be construed to prohibit the select board from carrying out its lawful responsibilities related to public safety, emergency response, civil rights, accessibility, or resident well-being, complying with or responding to federal or state mandates or other applicable legal requirements that directly affect town operations, finances, or services, including unfunded mandates, and continuing established municipal practices, proclamations, recognitions, or actions that are grounded in local governments, community inclusion, or town policy, rather than national political advocacy.
Read, Ms. Simpson?
Do you want to know?
Yeah, I want to come back to that.
It's the criteria.
Criteria for determining direct local impact. The select board may address as a federal matter when one or more of the following conditions are met. Number one, a federal law, regulation, mandate, or order or court action that directly affects Belchertown's municipal authority, governance, operations, or finances. Number two, federal funding decisions or unfunded mandates that directly impact town services, infrastructure, staffing, operations, or budgetary obligations. Number three, federal actions related to public safety, emergency response, or enforcement activity that creates local safety, legal, or operational concerns. Number four, a federal matter directly involving the town of Belchertown, its employees, its property, or its residents in a manner requiring municipal response or coordination. The board's constitutional oath shall not be interpreted as requiring the board or its members' commentary on national, political, ideological, or partisan disputes in their official capacity. Procedure. Before the select board or any member planning to speak on its behalf issues any statement or takes any formal action regarding a federal matter, number one, the matter must be placed on a properly posted public meeting agenda in accordance with open meeting law. Number two, the select board shall deliberate in open session on whether the matter meets the criteria outlined in this policy unless an executive session is justified under one of the exceptions in the open meeting law. And number three, a majority vote of the board is required to authorize any official statement or action on behalf of the board to communicate a message to the public on behalf of the town and therefore constitutes governmental speech. If the criteria are not met, no official statement or action should be taken.
Next. Affirmation of local focus. The select board affirms that its primary obligation is to the residents of Belchertown and the effective operation of municipal government. By limiting commentary on federal matters to those with a clear local impact, the board promotes clarity, neutrality, and public trust. Limitations. This policy is limited to statements made and actions taken by members of the select board in their official capacity. This policy does not prohibit the members of the board from exercising their own individual First Amendment rights, as long as they make clear that they are speaking in their individual capacity and not members of the board. And the effective date is this policy shall take effect immediately upon its potential adoption by the Belchertown Select Board. So, in a nutshell, if I can, we all, as American citizens, take an oath to follow the Constitution. And as such, that is a given. What is more important, at least to me, is that in matters of what happens in Belchertown, that this board does, in fact, understand that we do speak if any federal matter affects Belchertown personally. Not only do we speak, but it's our obligation as local town leaders. Do you have more to add to that?
I do not.
Okay. Are there any questions? Or anything we can add to this?
A lot of time went into it. Thank you, both of you.
I do want to add that you and I came together from both sides of the fence on this, and
Even though
It
we
was
are a
not-
nonpartisan board.
it was not easy,
No.
right? We had a lot of discussion, but I'm happy that we were able to come to something that we can both, support.
And I have to agree. In fact, I think it brought us closer together. For as much as there are different ideologies in this town, political ideologies, there are a lot of basic issues that we all agree on. And one of them, I think, is that we deeply care about the safety and well-being of every resident in Belchertown, including their civil rights. And for those reasons, keeping it local is the right thing to do. Anything else could be seen as virtue signaling. There, I said it. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept this?
I can make a motion, I guess.
What?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the public policy on the role of the select board regarding federal matters as written with the lawyer edits.
Okay.
Correct.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Thank you, Whitney. Further discussion?
Can I just ask a couple of points of clarification? This is not an edit, but it's something that I'm noticing. Lisa, you shared with me a while ago, the oath that we do take, it is incredibly simple. And I wonder if in the future, perhaps if so much thought and care went into this, maybe we should make it a bit more robust. But also I do note that we don't actually say anything about the Constitution.
No.
Maybe we should. Right now, it's just about that we uphold the rules and regulations of the Commonwealth and the bylaws of the town.
So, with that being said, should we make an edit in this policy? Because
It's technically untrue.
we were under the impression that
Yeah.
I thought I got the language from Terry.
Unless it
I
changed
got
from-
the language from Tara.
I've got it right here that you sent to me from Terry.
Yeah.
And
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, it says, do you, insert name, having been elected as insert committee or position for a term expiring, insert date, do solemnly swear to faithfully uphold the duties of said office in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown. So help you. I do. That's it. It's very short.
Right.
So just perhaps we want it to be a little more robust in the future.
I think that's the right place for it to be. But I also think as American citizens, we embrace the Constitution. We say the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of every meeting. So for me, it was more about you can wave a Constitution around, but you can't make people adhere to it. At least this board can't. But what we can do, the power we do have is in ensuring that our town is respected in all ways, and that if there is something that hits Belchertown, that it's our duty to respond, which is what we do on everything else. So.
I would suggest that we alter that one paragraph so that it's accurate.
Can you maybe say what the edit would be?
I almost wanted to strike the whole paragraph, but then that makes the paragraph after it read funny. because we do not take an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Are we supposed to? Is that a
And
good
you know what,
question?
as,
Is that a
no, but
lawyer?
see, that's where and so for me, when I read that,
I think the lawyer would call
it's-
that, I guess I'm just concerned.
But even as Americans, we don't take an oath, and
I did.
nor do
I
we.
did.
well,
Okay, sorry, yes,
I
yes.
did.
Yeah.
But I do
Plenty of
not.
times.
I did not. And even when I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm not taking an oath, I don't think, to uphold the Constitution.
It's a pledge.
So I don't know. I don't want to put, I don't want there to be anything, in even though I believe what it is, I don't want to put anything inaccurate in here. Should we play with that and come back?
Is that gonna make it have to go back to legal?
yeah, and for me, I wonder if we could say, members of the Belchertown Select Board honor the Constitution and leave it at that.
Okay.
Because really the focus of this is to separate out where our priorities are. And to me, saying, okay, we're going to uphold the Constitution doesn't have the same value as if I'm trying to think of something that isn't ICE, but if there is something that the federal government is doing that is going to infringe upon our residents, that is our duty to talk about it. So can we say that we honor the
I
Constitution?
like that. Can we go to the next sentence, though?
Yeah.
That again,
Well, anybody else disagree with that?
I think that's fine. My only other suggestion was just to make it exactly as the statement says, is the members of the Belchertown Select Board take an oath to, and then to say, uphold the duties of the office in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown.
Directly what the
Yeah.
pledge says.
Period. Yeah, but that wouldn't include the Constitution.
But that's a separate matter that I think you might want to.
Well, and actually that does align with this policy because you're saying we took an oath to the state and to our bylaws.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, so any federal situations we will consider when it impacts our town.
Yes.
So maybe that is appropriate,
So you want to do,
unless anyone's concerned about that.
so do you want to do honor?
My suggestion was to take it exactly. So it'd be members of the Belchertown Select Board
Okay.
take an oath to uphold the duties of said office in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown, period. But you all spent all this time on it, so that doesn't feel right.
No, I like that because that is what we did.
Yeah.
well, one of the things that the community members asked of us was that we recognize our Constitution, and I think that was the nod to that. And by taking that out, then we're taking away what they had asked.
Can we do both?
You could say members of the
we could say
Belchertown
we
Select Board
honor.
honor the Constitution.
Yeah.
And have taken an oath to.
Yes. So that way it includes both.
I would put the verbiage of what we actually take.
Yeah. Just because
Is
it's
that
what we
what-
say.
Yeah, I would take the verbiage of what we actually say
Okay, yeah, so
and put it in there.
Whitney, to uphold the what?
To uphold, I have to go look for it every time, to uphold
I can-
the duties of said office, which we could change if you want, in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown.
I was trying to write it
I can
down.
forward it to you.
Okay, all right, well, I just want to go back and reread this to make sure that we're all good with it.
So can I just say something? There's a
Please.
motion and a second on the table. We should probably vote on that. And then if we're
Right, because
changing
we're
it,
still in discussion.
Or vote on an amendment.
well, there was a motion and a second as written with the minor
Or
changes. Now we're
discussion.
totally changing the direction of this conversation.
Yes.
so can I just withdraw withdraw it? Because we are,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you have to withdraw.
I
your
withdraw my
motion.
motion.
okay, great.
Do we have to vote on
So Steve,
Mhm.
to make sure that we have it perfectly correct, would you get from Terry the language, or I can forward what Terry sent to me, but
Yes.
if,
Yeah, we can make sure it's typed.
yeah, just, yeah,
But also
Perfect.
make sure that that second sentence beginning this oath is understood and it's traditional. I think we've got to take the word oath out there as well, because it goes back to us not taking an oath.
Do we have a marked up copy? Or we just go- Record.
Here, we can just have this.
Well, you're gonna need it for your motion.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should read it for the motion, the way it's been altered.
But if we don't say oath,
I think we should, personally, I think we should table it and bring it back so it's all corrected. And then we could vote on it when it's 100% corrected. Is my thought. Next select board meeting, because it seems like we're there,
we're so
we
close.
just gotta clarify and make sure we get the right verbiage. I need
Yeah.
to vote on something now that it's off by 1 or 2 words.
Okay,
That's just my feeling.
anybody else?
I won't be at the next meeting because it's school vacation week. So I won't be here to vote on it. And I feel like this is something we should probably all try to vote together.
Well, I have a question. Can we make a motion that says that we are in spirit supportive of this, that we're going in the right direction, and that, we're going to be making edits to that one piece and nothing else, so we can just look at that one piece, but the rest of it, we could vote on. That way, at least we have the lion's share.
Unless she has the edits, I know you're.
I have it, I just finished it.
Yeah,
I can put it in. Do you want me to read it back?
Oh, or we could do that.
I think so.
All right.
All right, members of the Belchertown Select Board honor the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and have taken an oath to uphold the duties of said office in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown. This is understood in its traditional nonpartisan sense as commitment to lawful authority, due process, and responsible local governance. That last sentence is related to the Constitution. I feel like the oath should come first and then that we honor the Constitution. So the members of the Belchertown Select Board have taken an oath to uphold the duties of said office in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the bylaws of Belchertown. The members of the Belchertown Select Board honor the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is understood in its traditional nonpartisan sense as a commitment to lawful authority, due process, and responsible local governance.
I'm okay with that.
I like that. Well done. John?
I'm good. I'll make a motion that we accept it as edited. That the select board regarding the federal matters policy.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
I
Thank
abstain.
you.
I abstain.
Oh, you abstained.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so if I can just have that, when you're done, then cool.
Yeah, and I can double check it if you'd like, after you type it up.
So we're moving on to 5B, I believe.
Oh, no, I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
This was incredibly difficult. In talking with community members, there were several who empathized with, with what we were trying to do. What I want to acknowledge is that these were difficult conversations. I'm really proud of us for being able to step up and talk about it. It's, I think, an important example that we can show to the public that regardless of where we are on the political scale, that we can and should be able to talk to each other. We may not agree, but it can be done. So, thank you. Okay, so next up is streamlining town committees. This is a draft proposal for general discussion, and Nicole's going to lead this one.
Did we
Five
split budget?
committees.
Yeah.
They were doing-
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that? Oh, I did do that.
It's okay.
Can I make a request?
Please, go ahead.
Is Joanne here for something?
Yeah.
Because she probably wants to go home.
She is here for the health insurance update, so do we want to move that ahead?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Great.
Okay. So we're going to move up to 6F, which is the health insurance update. And Joanne has included some information in your packets to review.
Joanne, were you also here for the DEI task force piece?
Here for that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I was asked to come tonight and present an update on the status of the health insurance. And probably also just kind of brief you a little bit on what's happening with the health trust as far as financials goes. So I did include a summary, financial summary that was prepared and distributed at the last insurance advisory committee on January 21st. Should be in your packet. It kind of gives you an overview of the financials. So I kind of feel like I have to give you a little bit of context just to make sure you all understand what I'm gonna go through. So just a little bit of a brief background. I'm the voting member for Belchertown on the Insurance Advisory Committee for the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. I'm also a member of the Executive Committee, which represents towns or communities 5,000 or more. And the Executive Committee is comprised of 9 members. 4 of them are financial people, they're treasurers. We have a regional school district finance director, and a town administrator, and 3 HR professionals. So that's the composition of the Executive Committee. So we look at the financials every time we meet, and we've been meeting pretty regularly, almost weekly, since the mid-year rate increase in October. The trust has gone through some unprecedented cost increases, and these were attributed to financial pressures from ongoing healthcare crisis that we're all experiencing, rising costs associated with the GLP-1s, and underfunding in the trust from previous years. So that kind of like sets the groundwork. And as you know, I just mentioned we had implemented the mid-year rate increase in October. And since then, we've been monitoring very closely the financials. And it's basically kind of a month-to-month circumstance, kind of like living paycheck to paycheck in a way. You know, we check to see what's coming in for receivables and what our claims are. Some months are good and some months are bad. And we've had brainstormed on ways to try to mitigate that, and we've projected many months of higher claims. And so we've taken that into account and projected that out. But then as the actuals come in, you can see there's a chart in there that shows the actuals versus. So sometimes we're on par and sometimes we're not. So to try to maintain some costs, we've eliminated the GLP-1 coverage for weight loss, and the trust now allows for voluntary cancellations. Since that has been implemented, we've had about 10 5 and 5 from 5 from HMO and 5 from PPO, who dropped off our health insurance, which I don't know if that helps or hinders us. Likely healthy people might be dropping off and the others remaining. We don't really know that. But the trust has since engaged a consulting firm called Hill, and they're very well known and very reputable company who have been coming in and meeting with us regularly and going over all of our financials as well. And they've made some recommendations. Just to highlight, we've had a few months of some medical and pharmaceutical claims that have come down, which is, beneficial to the trust. We've also received a $1 million or so rebate from our CVS financials, which is a contractual adjustment based on reimbursements from a previous quarter's claims.
Is that unusual?
I believe it may be.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually $3 million. I think the projected amount was about $2 million.
Okay, yeah.
So it
Okay.
came in about $1 million higher, which was a delightful surprise.
Yes.
And
Yes.
desperately needed. So, I think, and I know Joanne's getting here, but I think December was probably the best month that we've had in 6 months. And we need to string more of those months together to feel good about what's happening. So
Yeah.
I should take it
Yeah.
back over.
And like Steve said, if we have multiple months of that against our projections, we'll be in the positive with I think they are projecting a $2.6 million reserve by the end of the year, which is the fiscal year, so by July. And the other piece that I wanted to update you on was what the trust was doing as far as a renewal for July 1. Hill put out an RFP, it was sent to Blue Cross, Harvard Pilgrim, Cigna, Aetna, Health Plans Inc., and United Healthcare. They declined. But
All of them declined?
no, just United Healthcare, sorry. It came back with some pretty competitive pricing and administrative fees from all the carriers. But given like the network provider disruption and the claims repricing and provider discounts, Blue Cross Blue Shield has still risen to the top for us. And what the Hill is recommending that we continue going with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We've been members with Blue Cross Blue Shield since like the 90s, so it's very ingrained in our members. I don't know if I should go into too much detail about the breakdown on the pricing on the premium is based on medical claims and pharmaceutical claims, and then there's some residuals of stop loss, administrative fees, and state assessments. And then they look at everything: claims experience, medical costs, employment trend, enrollment trends, risk assessment and plan design, and then the margin to bring the trust back into the green. And Hill is also making a recommendation that we have some plan design changes that sort of mirror what the GIC is proposing, or not proposing, what the GIC has in place.
Okay.
I want to go back to the GIC in a second after I finish what I'm going to say. And so the recommended changes would only impact the HMO and the PPO at this point that we've talked about. I don't know about the retiree plan, but implementing a deductible of $500 to $1,000, so $500 for individual, $1,000 for a family, and it doesn't apply to office visits, so it's not your everyday expenses. A lot of people get worried when they hear deductible and they think, oh my God, I got to take my kid in for
Or
physical.
prescriptions, shouldn't apply to prescriptions either, right?
We have a small deductible already on our prescriptions. It's a $100 deductible. But you're right, Nicole. Also increasing the specialist copay from $35 to $60, outpatient surgical from $150 to $250, and inpatient from $450 to $500. So those are modest changes. With all of that, Hill is recommending a projected preliminary increase of about 16% on our current rates,
It'll go up another 16%.
July 1st, along with these possible changes. Yes.
What is the projected if you went to GIC?
Well, that's another good thing for bringing that up. So the GIC themselves are also considering making some changes to their plans, increasing their deductibles and their co-pays. So PILB is recommending that we come up to speed, and then with the GIC and GIC saying, oh, we're gonna go even further, we're gonna make even more changes to our plans.
So
So,
we could be on current in a sense, I see like a lateral
right, we're
jump.
trying to be current and then would be out of sync.
Because 2.6 million is not a lot of money.
Right.
And it's
Do
projected.
we know how many months that is, 2.6? I mean, that's what,
I think that's the beginning of the fiscal year till the end, and it's,
no. If 2.6 is in reserves, how many months does that cover us for about, do we know?
Well, it depends on the overage. Because the revenues, you know, they're trying to collect enough revenues to cover the monthly expenses. So the reserve fund is just that if they don't collect enough.
Right.
So it's hard to, you know, we could be $1 million in the hole 1 month, or we could be
But,
$1 million in the black.
So what they do is they take an average of the monthly claims, and you're supposed to have so many months in there of the average. I was curious to know if we know what that is. When we talked to Joe Shea last time,
Oh, I think it
What
was
do you
like
have?
20 million mark or something. we were
yeah,
supposed
but
to
he
be.
only had, like, there were only
3
like
months.
3 months or something,
Yeah.
like, it was some small number. I'm just curious to know if Hill recommended that you up the
I'm
amount
sure they
of
did, and I'm sorry, I don't recall.
I
what the
think you
exact
were saying
amount
it
is.
should be a year, 12
a
months.
year for a group that's performing badly.
Yeah.
I would say.
We are now. So,
Right.
yeah, you know,
2.6
2.6 is not, I mean, we need tens of millions.
Yeah.
But it takes time to grow it. I just want to make sure that's their plan.
It is their plan, and
Okay.
they've built in that cushion in the premium to help us
Okay, and have they
grow that reserve.
said anything about aggregate stop loss?
Yes, and they did give, they said that the aggregate stop loss was really impactful for groups that are very small. Does that make sense to you?
No, because, you would have blown through you did blow through what would have been an average aggregate stop loss last year when we lost all that money. So it's an extra layer of coverage
Yeah.
that if we had had aggregate stop loss, the carrier would have taken on that cost instead of the towns themselves.
Right. I'll reach back out to them about that specifically. We did touch upon it in one of our meetings, and it wasn't something that they were recommending.
When do we have to make a decision to go to GIC or change it? What is that
Yep.
magical date? I hear different dates. I just want to get a locked in
Well, yeah,
date and time.
there's a lot going on right now. First of all, the first deadline for the GIC, I think, was December 1st.
Right, which was extended to January, the very beginning of January.
And, you know, I think there was a half a dozen towns that went to the GIC. When we evaluated the GIC, we were unable to demonstrate savings. What the GIC would have to offer is some stability. And when they run into these problems, the legislator usually bails them out financially. But they offer, I forget if it's 4 or 5 or 6 different levels of insurance. And depending on what the employees elect to enroll in, could actually be more expensive for the town. There's no guarantee that all the employees would take a lower, plan. If we could project that more accurately, then maybe we could say there would be some savings, but it's not there. But what is more important is because Belchertown is such a large pool of subscribers, that we have market presence. We don't have to go to the GIC. The communities that went to the GICs are smaller. They're usually under like 100 subscribers. They don't have that market presence.
What towns were they, or what units? I know, because I thought one was, I think Southborough, and
It was Berniston,
Southampton, right?
Southampton went to GIC, yes.
They're probably the biggest of them.
it's more, I just want to keep an eye on, and I know you are keeping an eye on it too, of who's defecting,
Mhm.
because that means they're not paying in anymore either. And, there isn't a lot of money in the budget right now. Not to,
Yes.
state the obvious. And so, we have to balance that with how many people are leaving and what's the impact, because that could affect the 16% even.
Right, it's about 400 subscribers with those 6 communities leaving.
Okay.
So it's a minimal impact.
So, yeah, we had, just to back up a little bit, the market presence that we have is allowing us to solicit market pricing.
Okay.
Joanne and I have been working with, Maya, the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, as well as a broker to solicit pricing from the market. So stay tuned on that. And the next deadline to get out of the Hampshire Group Insurance Trust is April 1st. If we decided that we wanted to do something different, we could notify them on April 1st.
So we still have
But
some.
in order to join the GIC, if that was ultimately the decision, we would have to notify them by June 1st
For the GIC, there's
or
the
a
second.
January 1st start, right? It's a 6-month window.
So I'm just thinking that out loud, we should probably put that on our agenda for March to talk about and take a decision vote, or
Okay.
at least the preliminary vote, what we,
What is it?
I don't know, if
July
we decide
1st
or
or
who
January
decides
1.
that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wait, I guess, is my decision. I'm
Well,
just sick of waiting and playing the waiting game again.
We're expecting to have the numbers from our RFPs by the end of March,
Mid-February.
mid-February.
They're due, all the responses are due by the 5th of
Okay.
February.
And that'll help us our budget season. If we actually decide to go to GIC or stay with the trust, we might have a better number.
Yeah, and I think, 16% sounds intimidating, and it is. It's not terribly out of line with past increases, we know that. But we also
Trend right now.
don't have the benefit right now of what all the other, units are doing. The GIC is gonna have increases, we don't know what they are yet.
Is it 16% with the 500 or is it 16% as is?
It's with their design changes.
And then the other thing that Joanne and I are doing presently is forming a local insurance advisory committee with the union representatives so that we can start talking about plan changes. And if we were to leave the trust, what that would look like. So that's ongoing as well. So there's a lot of things in motion. So March might be a good time frame to circle back and talk about.
I'm just trying to plan for, I'm a numbers guy, so I'm just trying to plan how do we
I
for
think you're right.
FY27 and do what's best for the town.
If
That's kind of.
if that's okay with both of you, can we just make that something that happens for,
Yes, I mean,
March.
absolutely. I think we're
Yeah.
we're at this little holding period right now. We're
Yeah.
waiting for GIC rates to come out. We're waiting for Maya to return a quote to us. We're waiting for our Gallagher's
Their RFP.
response on our RFP. So we have everything out. We're looking at all the options. We're also looking, we're in on what what the trust is doing too. So we can have all of the options available to us to make a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky because we're gonna have a variety of options. We're not being
We're not
forced
just-
into one thing.
which is fantastic. And I have to say, Steve has told me about how much work you put into this and how many hours you put into this. And so I want to say thank you, and thank you, Steve, and thank you, Nicole. I feel like we don't do enough of recognizing the efforts of people in this town. And this is not easy, and you've really been right on top of it. I think we can agree on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
On the financial statements, why did the receivables go from almost 4.5 million to 700? Like, was that write-offs? Is that all on the P&L?
Where are you seeing?
This
That's
asset
that was a $5
listing,
million
On
loss.
the first page?
Well, I think they've been moving money to make it.
Oh, yes.
are those write-offs?
Where are we?
Wasn't there some movement of money of
Yes.
pensions?
They depleted their CD
Yeah, that I'm not worried about. I'm worried about the accounts receivable because that indicates that they expected to receive $4.4 million. And at the end of December, none of that money has come in. So it looks like write-offs to me.
No, I think it was expended. So if I
As bad
recall,
debt. So then it hits the P&L. Like, I'm just curious.
I think that they moved some money into receivables to pay out the pension or the retirement for Joe Shea.
Yes,
And so I think at some point, when did he retire? October?
November.
Yeah, if you had looked at the expenditures in November, I think you would have saw a big chunk of that money going out for his retirement.
I don't know, that doesn't, from an accounting perspective, that makes no sense to me.
Well, there was a question about that. But yes, you
Yeah.
know, they have, just like we have OPEB.
Yeah,
You know, they have.
But that would be a liability, not an asset. So accounts receivable is usually like when they expect money to come in, right? So the only way to get accounts receivable off is either receive the money or write it off as an expense,
Well, I think
like
it's
bad debt.
The problem, they were using Excel and now they have a computer system.
So they might have adjusted something on their
So-
P&L. So I would expect the P&L
There's
expenses.
definitely some
to-
adjustments they've done afterwards, even to the projections.
Yeah.
There were some figures that they were using that were not
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, revenues were below projections.
Well, I mean, to Jen's point, can we get clarification on that? Just, you know, instead of, I think, you know, like,
Yeah.
all right, this is what it is. Yeah,
Sure.
thanks, Jen.
And you're specifically talking about the first page and the middle
Yep,
section?
accounts receivable.
And then the other piece of information that's important is that, you know, I know there was a lot of concern, especially by our employees, that, you know, we could find ourselves without insurance.
Mhm.
And one of the things that the health group did is work out if there's ever a deficit, there's an opportunity for a payment plan.
Yes, right, yes, right. Currently, they're supposed to be sending a monthly payment. They've made an arrangement to send it in bi-weekly or twice a month installments to match up with our cash flow. And then if there was ever a circumstance where we weren't able to send that payment or have the funds to cover that payment, they would work something out with us, so.
So there's, you know, some assurance there. You know, it's gonna be a slow road, no matter what happens with the trust. And I think that we're starting to see some positive direction, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But again, we are not committed to anything at this point. We are gonna shake the bush and review every option available. GIC is still on the table if we had to. It's still an option, but at this point, we're just trying to pull everything together. We want to make the best choice, and we want to make sure that it's affordable. So, you know, ideally, if we could find a very similar plan and there's savings there, then, you know, we could certainly, you know, pull out of the trust and move on. If not, then, you know, we'll probably stick it out. So
Right,
I
well,
think March is a perfect time frame
yeah,
to
and
circle back.
honestly, that's, again, this is about due diligence. What I'm hearing is, you know, you're looking at every option and you're waiting for all the information to come in.
Yes.
And, yeah, when we meet in March, you should probably, I hope, have a good idea of the direction you want
Yeah.
to go in.
I hope we do too.
Okay,
Can
thank you.
Can I just ask one more question? I don't mean to belabor this, but something just came into my head. Have they talked about Hill going even higher on the deductible and putting voluntary products in that employees could pay for? For instance, if I have a $2,000 deductible and I go into the hospital, yes, I'm going to get that bill for $2,000, but I've also bought this separate policy that will reimburse me if I go into the hospital. Have they talked about that?
No.
I think you should bring it up, because if 16% gets us, if $500 gets us, a $500 deductible gets us a 16% increase, I mean, trend is at 12, that's still above trend. I'd like to see what a higher deductible can do and then give employees the tools to purchase separate policies on their own that'll pay them back if they use the plan. So hospital indemnity, accident insurance, and critical illness insurance will be 3 of them. And they're pretty inexpensive.
That's great.
The rate that they're proposing, the 16%, does build in a 5% margin to help bring up the reserves, the trust.
Okay, good.
So they, without that, we were in a good place, would be about 11%.
So they're expecting to be under trend? I mean, I guess it's possible, but I would be really surprised if they were after the year
Starting to
that we
scare me
had.
even more and more now.
All right. All right. I think this is good for tonight, if we're okay. March is going to be a very good meeting, I hope. Okay, so in the spirit of getting Joanne out, do you mind if we go to the DEI task force?
Yep.
Okay, so this is back on because in sitting with members of the DEI task force, there I think was a miscommunication. The task force thought they were just coming in to say, this is what we're going to do. And so they were not prepared for the questions that we had for them. And in looking just online and again, in talking with the community and also with Steve, I began to think that this doesn't really fall under public policy. This is an employee matter, and I am concerned about muddying the waters between what the select board does and the day-to-day running of the town. And it came down to basically, if it's voluntary and internal, it's management, it's not policy. So I think we should remand this back to Joanne and Steve with the understanding that there were some concerns that were brought up in during the presentation, but that this could be a time to meet with the task force to ensure that you both are comfortable with what is presented, and if there's any fine tuning that needs to be done, that we respect that process and respect your roles in taking over personnel matters.
I mean, if the board wants us to take it over, we can certainly work with the DEI committee to resolve these few issues. Make sure that the pledge fits the audience.
Absolutely.
Even if that means having different pledges for different audiences, we can make something happen. So sure, if that's the board's wish, we can do that.
I guess I'm just concerned. I don't understand if this is a policy or I don't understand it. That's where I'm getting at. And I guess I don't understand why it's back on our agenda over something else that has been pushed down. So I guess I'm twofold in this. We talked about this last month and we tabled it, and then we tabled all this other stuff that I feel is more important than this, but that's where I'm getting at. I don't know where I'm at. I just don't know if it's a policy or is it something else? And should it go back to the DEI task force first to figure out what they actually want versus what they want to implement into the town?
So, and this is just doing.
No, I'm just trying to
an
understand.
online
They don't want to
search.
come here and
It's, well, no, they thought they were coming here just as like an FYI, and, to let us know, because this is something that they had already sat down with Steve and Joanne about. And I said, so I asked the question, if the board is involved at all, how is it involved? And this is not coming from me, it's it says the select board sets a general expectation that the town manager foster a respectful and inclusive workplace and leaves the choice of volunteer programs to the manager and to, and HR. And so what I'm saying is, I think we overstepped. And we don't get involved in, I don't know what time employees come to work or whether or not, their lunch break is an hour or 45 minutes or how they act towards each other, courteous and kind. And now we kind of stepped in and I was appreciative of that feedback because, we are trying and I do think it's important, but I don't want to muddy or otherwise interfere with the role of human resources and the role of the town manager. What we can do is certainly support efforts of inclusion, but that would be more of a recognition rather than setting policy.
So it's not a policy, that's what
Well, it would be
we set policies.
we set policy.
So this is a policy that we want.
Well,
I guess I'm confused, that's why I'm confused. I don't know what direction it is. I don't know, I read this as a policy that they want to implement it. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Well, so
I'm confused.
policy has a couple of different meanings. There's public policy, and then there are the policies that employees are expected to live by. And it is the second that I believe belongs with the town manager and with HR. And and that our role is about overall policy for the town. And Steve, if I'm wrong, especially because Steve is no longer the administrator, he's the manager. So everything that falls under, operations, the day-to-day operations, and this has been a tough thing for us to learn as a board, like what things we should be involved in, and what things we probably shouldn't be involved in. And you can make that argument. We can talk about it. I'm happy
I just
to.
don't understand. I guess I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what the DEI task force wants with this. That's what I'm getting at. I think it should refer back to their committee to figure out what they want before they go to Steve or before they come to the select board. It should refer it back to them to let them figure out what they're looking for.
Well, I think they've already done that.
They did that work.
That's the thing. And that was what, I definitely understood in meeting with them, is they have done their job. And now it is up to Steve and Joanne to look at what their efforts are and either adopt it or negotiate how it's going to work for employees. I want so much to say, and if you want our help, but I really feel like that's where we muddy the water.
So it should have never came before us. That's what you're saying.
In a
Yes.
roundabout way, mea culpa, yeah. What actually, they could have come before us just like they did, but our role was really simply to listen and recognize, but that's not, but as for setting the policy, that is, we need to respect Steve's position, and Joanne's, and hopefully they can come back to us and say, this is what we did, and, regarding DEI, and if they want, but it's not, they don't have to,
May I ask a
Yeah.
clarifying question? So I'm not sure if we're looking to create a policy or if we're looking to create a voluntary sort of practice. Because policies
My understanding is that they do come before the board. We have like the sexual harassment policy, the harassment policy. We've amended those and we brought them to you for signature to approve. So if we're not creating an actual policy, and if it's just more of a practice, which is kind of the flavor I got when Joanne and I spoke, was
Yeah.
that she wanted to kind of pilot this program where we're give employees the option. It's nothing mandatory.
That's
to
right.
make this pledge, and we would kind of go from there.
So if I can stop you again, if it's voluntary and internal, it's management, not policy. That's why when I got that clarity, at least from what I have researched on this, then it's management. Like the sexual harassment, that's not voluntary. So there's so then it would come to us. I mean, again, this is our learning season. You know what I mean? And Steve has a couple times had to tell us, oh no, this is mine or this is yours, and we're still working it out.
Right.
So, I say mea culpa, but at the same time, I was part of that meeting too, and I thought we were doing the right thing. But I think we need to, stick with what our mandate is and what Steve's mandate is. And I keep wanting to say, but if you want our help, and so I'm just saying that because that is my inclination, but the reality is the adult true thing is if it's internal and voluntary, then,
I understand. Yes. I also think that the DEI committee wanted support, from the top down to help implement and roll out their pledge program. And so,
but that would come from Steve
From us.
and you, and also to really explain that it is voluntary, and I do think, even though we really shouldn't have been involved, that there were some good points that were brought up, and you may need to sit down with them again, unless you're totally comfortable with what was presented, but.
So how do we vet this so it doesn't, this stuff doesn't come up again in front of the board?
You know how we
I'm just
do it?
curious, how do we?
Can I tell you truthfully how we do it? We try as a board to remember what our role is. When it's nuanced, maybe we have to have a smaller conversation about it, not deliberating, but maybe somebody from the board and town leaders get together to see who it really does go to. This is our first year under this new system. So there are going to be times when we step on each other. I think that's human nature.
It's going to happen. I mean, I don't think we've had a long history of miscommunications or misfires.
So here we go.
If the board feels that this is a management thing, and Joanne and I will address it. It's as simple as that.
Unless you don't. I mean, this is where it's like, if you think it is us, yeah.
We can take care of it.
Because I just feel like, okay, well, if we're going to go there, then let's look at all the other policies.
No, I mean, I think, Joanne and I and the top department heads in this town have embraced, DEI.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work already to make sure that we acknowledge all of our residents, and we have.
Thank you.
We have also conducted DEI training. I mean, there is a lot going And this is just one more step. It's
Absolutely.
not an issue for us to address. It's an important topic.
But what we can say is that we support you. We have every confidence in you that you're going to make the right decisions. And I think that is also our role.
Yeah. And I think that's ultimately what we were looking for, is to have the board embrace what we were doing, even if it wasn't policy or
Yeah.
needed a vote, And we also wanted that acknowledgement because, people are doing things, and we want to make sure that they're recognized already for what they're doing. So.
Can I make a comment? So I did have a few employees reach out to me, both at management level and non-management level, following our conversation that night. And they thanked me for sharing my thoughts on this, however unpopular they may be in the community. And so I just want you to keep in mind that this is not necessarily widespread amongst your employees that they want this. Yes, it's voluntary, but there's a lot of issues. There's unions to contend with. There's metrics.
But I'm sorry.
Can I finish
This
my
is,
thought,
this
please?
is, well,
Can I
no,
please finish my
because,
thought?
no,
So I
and here's
just
why,
want you
because
to be
I feel
aware
like
of that, Steve,
we
okay?
are,
Thank you.
we
I'm
are,
done.
those are the kinds of issues that need to be discussed with.
When a voter comes to me and voices their concerns, I'm going to share that with my town manager. Thank you.
All right,
We'll have those discussions.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. We'll make sure they're aware.
okay. Is there anything else?
She's E too.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you don't have to stay for that, but you may as well, right?
Well, if
Okay,
I had known that, I would have called in sick.
Yeah.
okay, so now we can go to streamlining town committees,
No, Labor Council will do that one first.
labor council?
Yes, because Joanna's here.
I'm gonna take a quick breath and bring it over back.
Okay, okay. Go ahead.
So,
I think Steve's.
yeah, I'll try to make it quick because I know it's getting late. So I think I told most of the board, our labor attorney, Mark Terry, is moving to a new firm. He's been with American O'Connell for decades. And he is going to Stone, Chandler, Miller. It's a cooperative separation, and we have the option to follow him. And after consulting with Joanne, we feel that Mark has had so much time here in Belchertown and he's so invested in everything we do that not following him is going to be a huge burden because he is so familiar with everything that we have ongoing in the history, in the people, that we want to make sure that we follow through with that. So just to remind the board that annually we appoint our council and labor council. So since we're recommending that we switch, we would need the board to vote to follow him to Stoneham, Chandler, and Miller. I did check on the rates because I know that's, the data that the board's going to be looking for, is this going to cost us anything? And right now our rate is $260 an hour for labor council. Mark's firm, the new firm, is going to hold that rate for 18 months. American O'Connell has already announced their increase for this year, and it's going to be $275. And that starts July 1. So, the rates are comparable. But, certainly it's good news that they're going to hold those rates for 18 months. So we have, no hesitation about recommending to the board that we,
Can you request a rate cap from Mark after the 18 months is up, that if they do go to increase, that they won't increase over a certain amount?
I don't know about that, but we always have the option of not staying.
Yeah, but
That's
I
why
mean,
we
we've
do
been
it.
with them for so long. I mean, I think everything's up for negotiation. I would just request a rate cap for him after the 18 months is up.
Okay. We can certainly talk to them about that. But I know he's concerned too. He wants to keep rates low. And that's why they gave us the 18 months, you know. But, yeah, I can certainly mention that.
We're not locked in for 18 months, are we? So let's say this firm didn't work out for us, we could just go with a different firm and not have to
Well,
worry about it.
yeah, in 4 months, we're gonna be.
That's
You
right.
know, recommending, you know, another appointment. Yeah, this is only a 4-month, you know, deal. So that's the good news, but we had a great history with Mark. For those of you who've worked with him or have seen him in action, he's excellent. So, you know, very thorough and, you know, there's a lot of trust there, I think.
Is there further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to appoint, town transition its labor matters to Attorney Mark Terry, and appoint Stoneman, Chandler, and Miller LLP as the town's labor counsel effective February 1st until we transition at the fiscal year.
I second that motion.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thomas in the parking lot. I don't know if you guys know over here. Thanks. Yeah, see you guys.
What?
Somebody dropped their medical.
Oh,
Okay. So we're back to 6B. You want to do a budget update?
yes.
So as you're aware, I was out most of last week, so I was hoping to catch up with our town accountant today, but she is out. So I don't have a lengthy budget update. What I can tell you is that we did receive the governor's numbers. The governor's budget, the cherry sheet allocation is about $168,000 more this year than it was last year. You know, that's not very impressive
That's
when
a
you
lot.
consider cherry sheet's worth $19.5 million. Our cherry sheet offset actually was reduced by about 100,000, so that is a good thing. But then our cherry sheet state assessment went up $126,000. So the net increase coming from the governor's budget this year is about $140,000. Not enough to help us. We do have the new growth projections from the assessor's office. They're figuring about $275,000 worth of new tax revenue based on new construction. Let me see, what else do I have? We already calculated the 2.5% tax levy increase, the normal increase. Department budgets are in. They're under review right now. Jill and I are going to be setting up appointments to talk to department heads about their requests, and you know, it looks like right now we're going to be, you know,
Just want to say good night.
Good night.
we're going to be looking to reduce on the town side, somewhere in the vicinity of about $200,000.
Can you repeat that? I missed that.
On the town side, we're going to be looking at reducing around $200,000 as things stand right now. The school budgets, I believe, are going to be presented tomorrow night. We do not have that number yet. The school committee has twice now attempted to review their budgets, and they've had to cancel due to weather. So, you know, that's okay. We are hoping, we do have a meeting scheduled on the 9th to discuss budgets. The school committee has been invited, the finance committee's been invited. So we're gonna, you know, whoever can be here, we need to get the process started. So we're hoping that we can have a quorum with all three, but if we don't, you know, obviously we're gonna carry on and get this started. Because we do need to start pinning things down. And I think after the 9th, we'll have a better handle on where we stand with things, because we'll have the school budget by then, hopefully. I don't believe there's gonna be any snow in the forecast for tomorrow, so it shouldn't, they shouldn't get canceled again. And I appreciate the school committee wanting to see the budgets before they're turned over, so, you know, it would have been nice if we could have had them 2 weeks ago, but, you know, I think we all hate surprises, so I'm glad that they want to see them and go over them first. So with that, I think we'll have a better picture on the 9th, and Jill and I will have a better presentation available. So sorry I don't have any handouts tonight, but with everything going on in town.
Well, we have Monday.
Yeah.
And you also just are recovering from
Yeah.
your
So I have on
illness.
that
Yeah.
before I lose my voice.
Anything else on that? Or can we wait till Monday?
Can you wait till Monday?
Well, Nicole, would you like to do streamlining town committees?
Sure. So one of the topics that we have all been throwing around now for several months is streamlining, consolidation, just an overall comprehensive committee makeup review. Some of the obstacles that we've discussed are that we have too many committees, not enough volunteers, volunteer burnout. Sometimes things aren't getting accomplished. I'm not even sure what other goals, other obstacles that we face with that. And so I kind of, just keeping all of those things in mind, I kind of put together a draft process of what I think a comprehensive streamlining project would look like. This is completely open to review, edits, deletions, anything else you can think of. I just threw a bunch of ideas onto here. I think that for me, we want to identify, first what all of the obstacles are, if there's anything that are missing from here, what the goals are. Some of the things that I came up with for goals are fewer, stronger committees with a clearer charge, possibility of subcommittee formation. I think an idea that I had heard recently was, is it a possibility that you would take a certain committee, such as maybe McPherson Garden, and place them under a larger committee, like recreation? Ideas like that. Addressing reasonable workload for volunteers. A proactive recognition program for those who volunteer, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Bidirectional liaisonships with the select board.
What does that mean?
So are there certain committees that should be coming to our meetings? Should they be forming a liaison to come to our
Got
meetings? Also, are there certain committees that should be interacting with each other with a liaison?
That's a good point, because I think of finance committee and capital improvement
Sure.
committee.
And
A
that
clear
just,
example of
that
that.
just happened.
Yes.
Yep.
We just heard
He
that.
did that on his own.
Yep.
Brian did that on his own.
Making sure that the committee's charges are aligned with the town goals, like the master plan, the bylaws, economic development. Having a clear and consistent communication to the community of why we're doing this. Those are some of the goals that I'm thinking about. So as far as process goes, the first thing that I think we should probably do, and if I'm jumping ahead and you want to just go back to obstacles and goals, we can do that first. But just moving along with process, first we need a list of who all of our committees are. So my hope was that our town manager and our clerk could create a spreadsheet listing out all committee membership. So all of the metrics, like who is the committee? What type of committee is it? Is it a working group? Is it an appointed committee? Is it an elected committee? A synopsis of what their charge currently is. Keeping in mind too that there are some committees that are legally required to exist on their own. In other words, we cannot touch them. I don't know who those committees are, but I know we have some. BDIC is a good one,
Yeah.
yes. So some help with identifying the ones that we absolutely cannot touch.
We should still know.
Right. Who's the current appointing authority? How many seats are on that committee? How many are filled and how many are vacant? Term lengths, average number of meetings per year. Do they require any staff support? And then actual names and titles of current members on that committee. Then I would suggest that we start tiering these committees into 3 tiers. Tier number 1 would be the committees that are legally required. They cannot be consolidated or dissolved, committees that we just can't touch. And so we put those aside. So yes, BDIC, Planning Board, ZBA, FinCom, so on, Board of Health, so on. Tier number 2 would be ones that could have a good impact if we did some kind of consolidation, but not necessarily could be dissolved. So for instance, communications committee, capital planning, creative economy. One of the things that I've always thought about, and Jen, I think you could probably shed more on this, is would there be any value in combining a cultural council with creative economy?
Cultural council is a tier 1.
You can't, okay. So,
And it's also funding, right?
It's a state program. It's not a local program. I
Okay.
mean, it's a local because we appoint the members here in town.
Do they fund, isn't that what they do?
They get money from
they
the
get
state.
grant money. So that one could argue there's probably a conflict of interest even if you could combine them because they get grant money, right?
They have a specific charge and it's clear at the state
Okay.
level.
And then
Well, we should still know.
and then tier 3 would be maybe consolidated or even possibly dissolved. Some of the committees that have an outdated charge, I don't know, one of the ones that came to my mind was the branding committee. Have they completed their charge? I don't know, but up for discussion. The other thing I think we should do to help us identify what tier things fall into and how committees could possibly consolidate would be to group them into families. That would be step number 4. All I did was take the list of all the committees that I had from the annual report, and I put them under 6 different headers, which interestingly are similar headers to Steve's goals and objectives. Just putting that out. So, just to kind of identify and see where things fall.
That's true, it really is. Okay.
And then step 5, this is where like the big work would begin. What would our tools for streamlining be? Obviously merging of committees, maybe creating umbrella committees where they remain separate, but they come together when needed.
Like a subcommittee? Is
No,
that what that?
subcommittee
Okay,
would be
that's
different. Yeah,
Okay.
subcommittee would be different. So
Okay.
that's where you've got a committee and then you've got a subcommittee working under it that work on a particular thing, like the McPherson recreation idea. Again, the assignment of the bidirectional liaisonships, sunsetting of committees that are no longer needed, and then simplifying and standardizing the committee charges with short, plain English, a clear scope, maximum meeting frequency, what their expectations are for annual reporting, and include a commitment of how often the committee will review its effectiveness and structure and recommend consolidation or sunset if appropriate. So with that one, I think we'd want to see committee head collaboration, them coming to us and saying, this is what we're working on. This is what we see, how we see we could change, how we could consolidate, how we could streamline. And then the last step would be drafting phased consolidation plan and timeline, where we identify those committees that we can dissolve for phase number 1. Phase number 2, we could do the quick and easy consolidations, the tier 3s. And then phase 3 would be the largest or the most complex, which is your big committees, doing some committee streamlining there. So one of the other things that I worked on, and I actually did this yesterday, so that's why it wasn't part of this. And again, Jen, this is not at all stepping on your toes, but as I was going through and creating this, I kept saying to myself, okay, well, if we're going to do all of this, one of the big things that we've got to recognize is that we don't have enough participation. We don't have enough volunteerism. So I put together just some bullet points, kind of some out of the box ideas on how we could drum up volunteerism. So me and for Steve and Whitney.
Yeah, paper.
Yes, I have good paper. So high quality paper. So some of the things that I came up with are placing posters at town hall, library, senior center, put a QR code on them that gives the resident a link to what committee seats are open right now. Drafting a monthly or a quarterly get to know your committee members Q&A article, put it in our newsletter, Facebook, the Sentinel, just some basic questions that would have would be, what made you decide to volunteer? What do you love most about Belchertown? What is your committee focused on at the moment? Tell us something about you that most people don't know. Just something to kind of go, okay, we're giving recognition to our committee members. Place a dedicated front page, if possible, article in the Sentinel and on Facebook regarding the need for volunteers. I know every week on page 2, select board vacancies. I glaze over it. I'm sure most people do. If we could somehow get a dedicated article, I think that might be helpful. Using annual town meeting and special town meeting, as well as other events that have a large community turnout, to remind people that we're looking for volunteers. Sending prospective volunteers open house night. Sending an annual thank you column in the newsletter, Facebook, town website, and Sentinel, recognizing our volunteers by name individually, similar to what we do for the Belchertown Fair.
Yeah.
Partnering with the high school to appoint student members where allowable, possible opportunity for extra credit for those students, and a letter of recognition from the select board for college and job applications.
Oh, that's great.
Shorter term options. Requiring, I don't know if we do this already, but requiring hybrid participation on all committees, online and in person. I feel like there's some committees that don't do that. And then the last one, I don't even know if we could do it at all, but I put it on there anyway. A modest child care reimbursement. I was kind of feeling like 2 of us could volunteer to get this underway. I was not really thinking of myself. I was kind of thinking, thinking of John and Whitney, but I would certainly be open to.
But you know, there's a lot that Jen's doing that I think, in terms of the summit, that might also,
Sure.
you know, I know.
Well,
that-
specifically this, definitely.
that is going to actually help inform this. So I just want to recognize that. And under the dedicated front page article in the Sentinel and Facebook regarding the need for volunteers, the one thing I suggest that we add is, what are the benefits of volunteering on your committee? Like, I think that might, you know, it's like market the committee. It's like, there are reasons why people do it and give so much of their time. And so I think if we can share that, like, you can be a part of that experience too. And that might help develop more of an understanding. I think the other thing we have to address is time commitment, because one of the things I hear a lot is, you know, I used to volunteer, it took up so much time. I don't want to do that. And so, you know, maybe I don't know if it's part of the summit or not, but, you know, are there ways that we can, you know, limit either the scope of what's being expected of them, or how much time is expected of each person? I don't know what that is, but I think the volunteers themselves would have a better understanding of how that might be accomplished.
And I think every committee is different. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of the amount of time, I mean, if you could look at Animal Control Advisory, for instance, they meet maybe a handful of times a year and only when there's a matter going on.
I know for me, I'm more focused also on the volunteerism piece, because I think we do need more people. We need new people on
Yes.
committees. But I also have found that folks don't understand what the committees do. So in addition to, you know, saying about like the time commitment, I think it'd be helpful to say, well, what does this committee do? What are their signature programs? What is it that their purpose and their mission is?
Yeah.
And I don't know the best way to get in front of people. I've also thought about, you know, videos, but Kate's tapped out. So we'll have to get someone else to do these videos and post something on social media. But your open house night, I know I talked about like a career fair type thing,
Yeah.
same thing.
But even this quarterly get to know your committee members, I think that could be used as a way to help others understand what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could
Use
be.
that, and then
at the
you're putting a
mission.
face in, oh, this person's working on this, and this is why this is of interest to them. I could do this.
Right, exactly. I think that would be so helpful.
I am the senior member on this board, so I am just going to point out just a few things.
Yeah.
The annual report has all of that information in it. Literally,
All the committee names.
all the committee stuff and like what they do and what they're working on, just for whomever ends up working on this. Like, there's a lot of good data already collected by the people putting together the annual report that nobody looks at.
That's,
Yeah.
there are some people who look at it, but
Yes.
I think the vast majority get.
This year's is gonna be amazing.
The other
Well,
item.
Jen, are you saying that because in replacement of the
I'm
spreadsheet?
not saying that at all. I'm just saying that
That's
you
the
could mine
reality.
the data from that and create a spreadsheet pretty easily.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, I think that a lot of the committees, more than people recognize, are this tier one that you have that would go under the government review.
Understood, and that's why tier one is there.
But yes, but I'm saying, like, I feel like a lot of this work is gonna be addressed when we finally do the government review. Those are my thoughts.
I also, Nicole, I heard you mention getting in front of people at big events. I hadn't even thought about town meeting. That seems like such an obvious time. I don't know what that looks like. If that's tabling or something more than the annual
Well,
report.
that's a good idea.
I think Nicole said that, so I don't want to steal it from her, but I think that is a good idea because it is certainly an audience. It's not a captive audience. It's nice people who want to be involved and participating.
And we used to have the volunteer recognition.
The farmer's market too, you could like be in Bishop tent.
Didn't
People do-
someone on this board talk about like having, or I don't know, having a committee per farmer's market, like an info booth so that it could change? I don't know. I
Well-
thought, or maybe you did. I know I heard it from someone.
The farmers markets out of town, their committee.
Mhm.
But they're always very cooperative if we want to work with them. Recently somebody said something about having a booth at the fair for people to sign up for volunteering, and I think we had some information.
We did that. We did that.
Last year.
So Gail, Brenda Aldrich, and myself sat inside the old town hall.
Right.
Yeah.
So, those are things that are ongoing, and a lot of what's in your amping up document. Kate has been doing a lot of that stuff. I can have her kind of weigh in on what she's done and,
Yeah.
what hasn't been done. With the Sentinel, they publish our list of committees free of charge.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you. And they run it every week for us, or, with almost certainly. There have been times where there wasn't room, so they left it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we want to try to get something on the front page, it's probably gonna cost.
Yeah, it's gonna cost.
Well, I think more of asking them to write an article.
And I
I
think Kate
think
has.
we would have to write an article.
So
And,
that's something Kate can work with.
yeah,
So I do think that, we need more volunteers, and it's difficult. I think volunteerism in some ways used to be a way for people to get out of the home for something to do, and now with social media and the internet, people are more content being at home. So we're always gonna be fighting that. But we do have a great group of volunteers. Consolidations could certainly help, because now you can take the same group of volunteers and you can, focus them on similar projects. And that's why I think knowing where there's overlap is very important, so that we can make those decisions.
well, I mean, this also came from the board, so I brought this forward because other members from the board asked it to be brought forward. And I do think that to Jen's point, maybe it's not going to be as heavy a lift because some of this information is already available, which is great. But there hasn't been a discussion on can we, and really it's a can we consolidate? Is there any room? How can we do better? That's good work. I really appreciate what you put together. Thank you. What do you need from us?
Well, I guess I would want to know if we want to move forward with starting the process. And who would be doing it?
Oh, yeah, you bring it up.
Did concerns about volunteerism come up as a topic at the initial summit meeting last week? Did people say like, oh geez, we just need more people?
Yeah.
Because they need space, resources, and people.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because that may align.
Yeah, and then there was a specific comment about the age of some of the committee members and volunteers that come out are older folks, and that they would really appreciate younger folks getting more involved.
And well, that also brings up the whole truth that that younger people are getting pulled in 5 or 6 different directions, and which then goes back to, okay, well, how can we make it something that's going to be, enriching for them and, isn't going to take up their whole life, I mean, these are all good I don't know that we have answers for this, but it's worth exploring.
I mean, in my personal experience, like even what happened with Override and with the schools, I mean, so many parents got involved in that effort because it directly impacted them, right? So you have to think through these committees and like, what is the impact? Why would somebody has to really care about conservation, join the Conservation Commission, right? Like, who are those folks, right? Like, who knows, like, people who are interested in conservation? Do they know we have a Conservation Commission? Are we talking to those folks? It's like a larger conversation.
That's what I think that, understanding what the benefits are would be helpful.
Or the impact.
Because
the impact
exactly.
is.
And that they can be a part of it too. So to your point, if it's somebody that's into conservation and they hear from conservation members, I get the following things out of doing this that may resonate with people who are in that world.
Yeah. So I do, just as a side, I do have an interested party to join the Conservation Commission.
Oh, that's great.
The bad news is,
Oh.
this person serves on another committee, and we will have to designate Conservation Commission members as special notice employees for them to double up. So, stay tuned because we will probably do that so we can at least fill that seat. But it's very concerning in general what I see, because if we look at the Board of Assessors, for example, that seat has been vacant for years.
Wow.
And it comes with $1,000 a year stipend. So it's not even a matter of whether or not a stipend would solve that problem, because it's there. That's a great committee to serve on. And people who are, concerned about their taxes, this is an opportunity for them to get involved and be part of that process.
So maybe we need to hear from
I'm puzzled.
those committee members, like, what do you get out of this? Hopefully, these are the things you care about. If you care about the taxes, this is a place where you want to be.
So, I do think that we do have some people who are interested in volunteering more than they already are. And as long as we can create avenues for them to do that without having issues with conflict of interest, I think we should support that. So I'm going to be bringing that forward at a future meeting. But there's no simple answers.
No.
I think we can all agree on that. We have a lot of different initiatives that we want to see followed through with, and it takes committees to do that. And we'll just have to keep trying to persevere to fill those positions.
So Nicole, you're asking some very good questions. I'm wondering if you, at the next meeting, you bring it up and that gives us time to think about it,
Sure.
unless someone is.
I just don't want to see it die right here.
No, me
No,
either.
that's why I'm saying bring it up next meeting. It's,
My
you know,
initial thought, and I did not time anything tonight, guys, and that's why it's 9, and I'm sorry, or something
Can I
was
just,
not.
can we just have it added as an agenda item to the next meeting, revisiting the discussion?
that's fine with me.
And I have some ideas, Nicole, that I like your ideas, and I want to be helpful with this.
Okay. And I do too, but I want to think about.
Okay.
How
Thank you.
we do this. So Steve will add that.
Yes, I will. So
If that's
let me just
okay.
recap here to make sure we got through everything. We did the addition, we did A, B,
We did it. Yeah, we did them all.
We did them all.
D.
It's now the town manager's report.
So I will be brief. Signing warrants as usual. I did attend the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust Executive Committee meeting and their IAC meetings. I've been meeting with Joanne weekly on various issues. You know, and again, we are forming an IAC locally, so we're gonna be spending a lot of time on insurance together. I did attend the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. They are making great strides this year. They're really getting organized. I did attend the EDIC meeting. We have an important meeting this Wednesday on the 4th. I attended the Board of Assessors meeting. We talked about the interview process to replace the Director of Assessing. Both of the elected Board of Assessor members will be participating. One in initial screening and one in final screening. Joanne and I, the town accountant, the town treasurer collector will all be part of the interview process. The applicant period right now is open and we have been receiving applications. I met with representatives from the Stone House regarding the preservation of the original Cold Spring, which is off of Cold Spring Street in the UMass Orchard area. I need to follow up with UMass and try to find out where that project stands. That's been something that's been put on their radar. I did attend the Holocaust Remembrance Day flag raising. Lisa and Jim discussed that because they were both there. I assisted with, let me hold on, I'm going to get back to that. Two things I just wanted to mention quickly. The Human Services Study
Yes.
that we commissioned the Collins Center to do is complete. We are working on a schedule now for them to come in to present the report. I will email the report to the board members in advance, hopefully tomorrow.
Thank you.
And as soon as we know when the Collins Center can appear before the board to present the findings, we can do that. And just to refresh everybody's memory, Human Services included Veterans Agent, Recreation, and Senior Services. So that is done. I thought it was a very well-written report. The other thing is the Agile feasibility study. That is in its final stages. The consultants are preparing to present to the select board some options before they finalize the report. So I would say in the next couple of meetings, we will also have that on the agenda to review. They are looking at, various reuses of the building, which would include, residential, mixed use, municipal use. When we talk about municipal use, it could include, a community center, library space, those kinds of things. So they're putting together some pretty good scenarios, and they want to be in front of the board pretty quick.
Will we be making a decision on that?
Yeah, there'll be some decisions that need to be made on the final direction that they want to go with. We wanted to look at every possible use, because it's a tool that we would use for marketing. If we were to try to sell or lease the building, we want to make sure that we've vetted the various uses. In that, a lot of that information was gleaned from the public survey that we did for the reuse of the building. So that's everything's kind of starting to come together with that, but the final report will not be prepared until the select board, have a presentation and weigh in on it. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is, that I did spend a lot of time with, our chair, fire chief, the police chief, DPW director, building inspector, preparing for the winter storm that we had a week ago. I can't tell you how proud I am of the group of people that we have working for this town, how they came together. The police department had a big role in making sure that the town was safe during the storm. The fire department responded to calls like they always would. They managed a warming center during the weekend in anticipation of potential power outages. They were ready to activate a shelter if necessary. Our DPW put in a 29-hour shift during the first round of snow. They had to take a break and get some rest. So when we had that second batch of snow, that few inches that fell, they were able to come back in and get things cleaned up. And, we had a total of nearly 20 inches of snow. It's the most we've had in at least a decade in one storm. I think they responded very well, considering that not only were we dealing with sub-zero temperatures, we had zero warming during the daytime. I mean, we'd get up to 2 or 3 degrees and 10 below at nighttime. I mean, it was just the most miserable conditions you can have for snow removal. And on top of that, they were managing with a limited supply of salt. And you don't have to take this from me, you can Google it, but there is a shortage of salt in, the States right now. And anytime you have these widespread storms that stretch from Texas to Maine, states that usually don't need salt are buying salt, which further complicates the program. And the DPW was not at risk of running out of salt. They were at risk of not getting deliveries in time for another forecasted snowstorm.
Right.
They were dealing with a snowstorm that ran from, Saturday night into Monday morning. And the following weekend, they were threatening with a nor'easter. And they did not have commitments that they were going to be getting salt deliveries during the course of the week. They were struggling to get answers from 2 different vendors. So a decision was made to make sure that we had some salt left over if we needed it. But nobody was put in jeopardy. They did a really good job of managing the salt usage, keeping the roads plowed. And it took a while to clean things up, but I think, it was stated at the beginning of the meeting by one of our residents here that in comparison to some other towns, we did very well, and I agree with that. I think they did a wonderful job. All the departments did a great job. And again, I just can't say how proud I am to represent, those department heads and all those employees that put in all those hours to make sure that we were safe and that our roads were open. I think good job all around.
I'll save my remarks for my report, but thank you.
Yeah, I guess this is a good time to say, can we get a thank you letter to all those departments and we can sign it? I mean, it's a little small piece of something, but at least in select board, we could say thank you.
We can do that.
I'd love that. Okay, Steve, anything else, or can I move to?
No, I'm done.
Okay, review of weekly mail. Did anyone have anything? Okay, individual board members report. Oh, John, let's have you go first.
I'll try to go quick. On the 21st of January, I met with PCTV meeting with Esther. We just talked about what's going on at PCTV. Talked about the capital improvement plans that she presented for the capital improvement. Future podcasting, possibly. I'm stealing your thunder over there, but trying to figure out how to just boost stuff like that. It was a good little meeting. First time we actually sat down and kind of talked one-on-one, so it was good to meet with Esther there. 21st, I attended the capital improvement planning meeting I was online, you were there, so I'll let you update the sheet, but a lot of good things coming from that committee. 21st January, I did EAC, so we did back-to-back meetings together. I'll let you talk about that more on that, but my feelings, those are long meetings, and trying to say this nicely, but it's hard to follow sometimes. We're jumping around a lot. I think all of us on this board, I guess, can say we want what's best for the town and moving the town forward. PSC is starting to do that. Mass Development was there. I felt that we moved in a good direction this time. If you want to comment on that too, but I felt that we made progress. And I've been on this board since June, and this is the first time I felt like we made progress in my honest eyes. So, good sign there. You can comment more. 22 Jan, I know at our we had a veteran meeting in person. We talked about the Eagle Scout project. There's an Eagle Scout looking to put signs up down there. If you've ever been to the Veterans Center, it's hard to see and know where to go. So Eagle Scout's going to take this on and kind of build some signs. So it's a good little project. And we talked about them possibly fixing the cannon in the center of town, the community cannon. So it's in need of repair. So I know we're trying to get grants for it too, but if Eagle Scout can possibly take that on, it'll look nice for the community and kind of get that up and going. 22 January, I had a communication meeting. I did it virtual. They talked about EDA compliance. So I know we talked about this, but I want to get on everyone's radar. By April of 2027, all websites, social media, anything has to be in EDA compliance. So we have a communication manager, but they're only part-time.
Right.
But anytime, like, let's say their committee wants to post to social media, they have to be EDA compliant, or we can get sued or that stuff. Anything DPW social media page, our webpage. Anytime you attach an article to our website, it has to be ADA compliance. So this is going to draw money, budget, and the state is mandating this time frame. And I know Steve has been looking into it. We've kind of been trying to help with the communication committee. They're trying to help out, but it's above them. So that's something we have to stop with our state legislative on about that issue.
Yeah, we have we did receive an ADA self-evaluation grant this year.
I was just going to ask, are there funding opportunities?
So, the primary focus of that grant is our buildings and grounds, but there is an allowance in there. We're still working out the scope of work, but there is some money there to help with evaluating what we already have for the ADA compliance with the website. So Kate has been working on that.
But I'm wondering about, since the state is, this giving us a deadline, does the state also offer any?
They don't offer any resources with their deadlines, do they?
They what?
They never offer any resources with their deadlines, unfortunately.
So, but
Well, can they direct us to where we can, I don't know, it just
It's
feels
just something to
like,
think about when we plan for budget season. We might need money to bring these websites into compliance, or we might
Or
shut
tell
them
them,
down.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, or we tell them they can't post and it needs to be redirected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's something to think about. I just want to get us. our
no,
wheels turning.
that's huge.
Another positive thing is the town warrant. So communication committee, Ed Camone has been working with all our committees and the town manager to make the town meeting warrant easy read, like QR code, easy read. He's done a lot of work. I know Steve didn't bring this up, but a lot of good work is coming out of that. There's timelines now, and hope that the residents can get it out way beforehand. So the communication committee is really tackling this and moving the project forward. So I think it should be a much better read for everybody. I know we brought it up a little bit tonight, but I'm happy. I think everyone should be happy about this. And it's the first year doing it, but I think we can improve over it. I did over the weekend with the storm. I did check in with the fire chief about the warming center and the snow, town offices and DPW. I just want to reassure the residents, the DPW did a great job, but you don't need to call the dispatch center in Wilbraham to say that they plowed snow in your yard or plowed snow in your driveway. I said, plow goes by the snow, that's not an emergency situation. And misuse of the emergency situation when, police and fire out there, this takes time away from dispatchers, but there could be a life emergency. A snow emergency like that is not something to call. Then call down to the secretary or call Linda or someone down there to complain about snow in your driveway after you just shoveled it. Like, they're doing the best they can, and then yell at them and be snotty and rude. There's an appropriate way to do it as residents, and I think that's what I want to get across. I mean, they did a lot of work and they handled it with grace. And I want to echo, they did a great job. Being up for 36 hours is not easy plowing. Things are going to happen. Mailboxes are going to get broken off. There's 2 feet of snow. What would we probably send them? Just call down there and say, hey, you broke my mailbox. DPW will go out there and fix it. They're not, just let them know. Don't be rude about it. They're happy to fix it.
So for complaints, where should people go?
And they should complain, even they can complain, but don't be rude about being
Where
complained.
should they go?
They can go to DPW and call and say, hey, my mailbox got broken, but don't yell at them, be like, why'd you hit my mailbox?
All right,
Just 2 feet of snow, they're driving, accidents are gonna happen, but don't scream at them, and there's no reason to be rude.
so kindness is free.
Correct, kindness is
Okay.
free. That's I mean, we're all stressed, they're all stressed, they've been on for a while, and they did a great job, and don't call the fire station or police station about your mailbox.
Okay, all right, anything else?
Yeah, I had a few more things, sorry. I attended the Age and Dementia on 28. I know Whitney couldn't go, she was back to first
First week of school.
school. They talked about grants submitting for benches from ARPA, or not ARPA, AARP.
Yeah.
Funding, sorry, I gotta clarify. Then I attended the Council on Aging meeting, and so they talked about submitting for the new van through capital improvement. They talked about their holiday luncheon, 96 seats sold out.
Wow.
They're trying to get tables. I know Nicole mentioned some of that stuff with a donor possibly to get some tables. Nicole's been working on that.
Are there volunteer opportunities for
Yep,
that?
they're trying to get volunteered.
Okay.
The biggest thing that getting out of that is
What is it again?
they gotta get a new luncheon. Yeah, they haven't decided. Maybe the
Isn't it
Valentine's Day luncheon.
Valentine's Day luncheon.
Is it gonna
I think,
be,
isn't it?
oh, so it'll be on Valentine's Day?
I don't know. We
Well,
haven't
we haven't,
got any dates
they
for
didn't
it.
say what they need for that. I don't know if that's gonna be as big of a.
All right.
I'll find out. I'll
All
find
right,
out.
The
good.
biggest thing I want to get out to the residents is usually AARP provides slots for free tax service. It's down at the senior center, you gotta sign up, it's first come, first serve. Usually there's like 100 slots. They've cut it down to 45 slots. So it's first come, first served, and doesn't just serve the residents of Belchertown, it serves anybody who calls. Technically, there's no age discrimination, there's no town discrimination. So if you live in Granby, you can call our senior center and get the slot.
But there's only 45
Correct.
rather than 100?
Yeah, so they're predicting that we're gonna not have enough slots for seniors to get their tax
How
credit.
come
So we
they,
have to call
how come it
early.
went to,
The ARP that's
okay, all right.
helps doing it. They can try to call a different senior center, Hadley has more slots and just be a bigger area. It's just, it's out of their control. So I don't want the residents concerned that it's not the senior center, it's ARP.
Is it is it in the control of the senior
Yeah.
center to,
They tried, Jess
Okay.
done a lot.
you know what I was
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You know what I was, okay.
She's trying to fill the slots, but again, if there's not volunteers that help, it's free service, it's not. So it's something we got to think about for our seniors as our
Yeah.
aging population goes up. Those are the services
Well,
that
I'd
we
love
got
to
to think
get
about.
ahead in terms of how we're communicating this so that, that the residents recognize that this is not the senior center.
She's supposed to put a message out in her senior bulletin
Okay.
about that stuff too.
Okay, good.
They're excited for the fireworks. So I mentioned the fireworks. They're excited. They're very happy that we're bringing it back to the community. So just my little caveat there. That's all I got.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Sorry.
So I actually wasn't gonna give a report because I was on vacation last week, but I do want to talk about, I'll tell you about the table. So I believe the senior center is short 2 tables with chairs to hit maximum capacity at their luncheons. So I did reach out to Country Bank for a donation. Unbelievably, a round table with, 12 chairs at it is almost $2,000 each. So it's expensive. So I'm working with Country Bank on that, and so more to come on that. But honestly, I was out for the whole week, so I just didn't really have a lot going on.
Did you have a good
I
time?
sat on a beach and
Yeah.
I did take a resident phone call while I was on the
There you
beach.
go. But that's great about reaching out to Country Bank to see what they can do.
Yeah, well, so just so you know, Country Bank attended the Christmas luncheon. They sponsored a portion of it, and so it just made sense to reach out to them.
That's great. Thank you. Jen?
We had pre-summit meeting. We went to the Holocaust International Holocaust Remembrance Day. I said some things. I don't remember what they were. This week we have a couple of meetings. We're still figuring out the summit in March. That's pretty much it.
It's great.
I'm gonna put a board report ever. Between the first week of classes back at Mount Holyoke and being sick, I got nothing. I didn't attend anything town related.
I mean, you have a job and you got sick and you have kids,
I know.
one of whom was not feeling well
I
right
know now
now.
he's sick. But and then also unfortunately I will miss our next meeting because it is school vacation week and we're gonna go away as a family.
I did forget that we did have a meeting set up for the family center, like on some of that.
That was what I was
So,
gonna
I
ask.
forgot in the
It
food truck
is-
policy, we had all that planned, but the snow
Yeah.
canceled our meeting.
Family center's rescheduled.
Okay.
And I'm meeting with, I guess I do have some things, and I am going to be meeting with, the BCC to be talking to them about some more bench projects that they have. Yeah, and then we do need to talk about food trucks again, don't we? We need to bring that one back.
So we did have to do a lot. It's just the
We did
snow.
some stuff.
You did some stuff. I'm glad to hear about the family center. I really am anxious about,
Yes. Yeah,
helping them to move forward.
that's rescheduled for,
So let me just go through my little list. So as Steve pointed out, I assisted with the planning for the snowstorm. And I have to tell you, having a bird's eye view on what all the departments do in terms of preparing for a storm, especially of that magnitude. I mean, it was an all-day affair on Friday, right? And with then touch points on Saturday. I agree with John and with Steve, all of the town departments that were involved, fire and police and DPW, and our town manager and support help, they put in a huge amount of effort. And, I know that there were some complaints about some of the roads not being clear, but the main thoroughfares were clear. And as quickly as they could, the rest of the roads were also being attended to. I talked to Steve myself because there were roads in South Belchertown that I was concerned were getting dangerous because the sun was going down and it was being icy. So, I get it, but we have limited personnel who are tasked with a huge job. The issue around salt is very real. If it was just willy-nilly used, we would have nothing if there's another storm. And let's face it, it's the beginning of February. There's probably going to be another storm. So I want to thank you, Steve, and all the departments. And I think it's great that we send out something.
Yeah, and I think the residents forget how big Belchertown is and how many miles of road we have.
It's a
We're
big,
we're a
huge
small
town.
We're the second biggest landmass.
No,
in
it is,
Massachusetts.
it's huge.
So the
It's
thing about the
huge.
road, it just, in general,
Yeah.
Route 9 and 202, parts of that, the town's responsible for plowing.
Well, I just wanted to directly acknowledge that I know that there were complaints and I do have empathy for it, but I also know that we have a finite number of employees that are tasked with doing a humongous job. And I think they did a fine job. I attended the capital improvement planning meeting, and they are really on the right track. I'm really impressed with how they work together, and they are very systematic and treat each individual department. The department heads met with them at the last meeting equally, asking the right questions, doing the right things. I think the town should have every confidence in the work that they're doing. I went to the EDIC meeting again. John, I couldn't agree with you more. I felt like there's real momentum building with the EDIC, that you know, that if they continue moving forward in this track, that there will be news to report. And I'm not going to go any further than that. But I'm impressed with the way in which members who have been there for decades are listening to members who are just joining the board, and that there is a dialogue that's happening between the two different entities that I think is going to benefit the town. And so I'm very impressed with them. I attended Holocaust Remembrance Day, and I do remember what Jen talked about. And she was very elegant in her response that this is a somber occasion, and that the words "never again" are not just a catchphrase. Like there's living dialogue behind that, and that this was a somber event, very respectful. You know, we had a huge snowstorm, and still, I think there were like 20 people that showed up. Yeah. And, you know, I think there would have been more had the weather been kind to us. I thought Steve did a great job as well, and that overall people walked away, you know, with a feeling fed, if that's a good term, but just feeling.
I think we did something special.
I think we really did. Thank you.
This is a very unique event. You know, we should thank, you know, our representative Saunders and Senator Oliver for showing up.
Jake, and I think that's a great idea. Jake, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I felt bad you had to follow Jake. Jake, as usual, our senator, was amazing. And I encourage everybody to go. Steve said at that meeting that that he hopes that this was the first of a tradition. And I certainly agree with that. I also want to really thank the members of the DEI task force who put this together. I think they were very thoughtful in their approach, and I think they should be very proud of the program that they delivered. And then I attended the volunteer summit, and again, I thought that was incredibly well run. Jen, I thought you did a great job. I think you got a lot of good information. I know there are a lot of other people to thank that were behind the scenes. I trust you know who they are and can pass on that positive reinforcement. And that's it for my report. Okay, so are there any questions from the press?
Hey there. No questions, but I wanted to actually say a couple of things.
Okay.
First, as someone who is living in the Mile High City over here, Denver's roads, largest city, capital of Colorado, Denver's roads do not get plowed the way that roads at home get plowed. So it's a testament. I am now very grateful for having lived where I did, because y'all clear the roads like nothing else. Out here, it's like bumper cars. So just saying, shout out to everyone who made that happen, because it is truly a feat. And then second, I wanted to also just mention, I actually serve as our ADA digital access coordinator. So I have helped what is one of the largest sections of the website for the city of Aurora get into ADA compliance. It took me a year and a half to do, but I have all of the lessons learned, all of the resources that are free and available to people, and the recommended programs to use that are paid. And any way that I can help, I would love to be able to at least get you guys on the right track.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Maybe you could bring that news back to the communications subcommittee. Melina, that was so kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We're gonna take you up on it.
Absolutely. We have a full-time digital accessibility coordinator for the city, and he is busy. So it is definitely a feat to do, but making everything accessible is really the way of the future. And so it is necessary work. But it can be a little bit of a strong learning curve, but I at least wanted to offer out that I've done it. So anything that I could do to help.
Oh, no, we'll be following up with you, Melina, sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Anytime. Have a good night, guys.
All right, you too. Okay, now we're gonna move into executive session.
I move that we enter into executive session, not to return to open session. Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, Subsection 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on negotiating position of the public body, 6 and 8 Berkshire Ave.
So roll call
A
vote.
second.
Okay, roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you all for attending.
Okay, meeting's adjourned at 9:20.
See you.